channel. Teresa Love here. Thank you so much for clicking. It means so much. This will be episode 3 of the Reading the Twilight Saga official illustrated guide. We are still on the interview with Shannon Hale and Stephanie Meyer. So this is the section on the writing process. Shannon, I think you must write much better first drafts than I do. Stephanie, I doubt that. Shannon, really? Are they pretty bad? Stephanie, I think so. I have to go over them again and again because I don't always flesh it out enough. I write it through so quickly that I have to go back and add things. I tend to use the same words a lot, and I have to consciously go back and take out things like that. And I don't always get them. My first drafts are scary. Shannon, how do you go about rewriting? With Twilight, did you send it off immediately, or did you go back and start revising it? Stephanie, I probably read it, I don't know, 50 to 100 times before I sent it anywhere. I cannot read a page of anything I've written without making 5 changes. That's my average. So even now that Twilight is finished, in quotes, unquote, quote, quote, unquote, oh, I'd love to revise it. I could do such a better job now, and I have a hard time rereading it because if I read it on the computer, I want to go in and change things, and it drives me crazy that I can't. Oh, I would not want her to change Twilight. Shannon, yeah, I try not to read anything that I've already published. Stephanie, if I read it in the book form, I can usually relax and kind of enjoy it. I like to experience the stories again because I see it like I did the first time I saw it. I do that too. But sometimes it's hard not to be like, oh, I hate that now, or why did I do it that way? Shannon, that would be a writer's hell. You're continually faced with the manuscript that you wrote years ago and not allowed to change it. Stephanie, well, that's every writer's reality, right? Shannon, I don't know if you feel this way, but once a book is written and out of my hands and out there, I can no longer feel like I wrote it. I don't feel like I can even claim the story anymore. I feel like it now belongs out there with the readers. Stephanie, I feel that way about the hard copy on my shelf. There is a disassociation there. If I look at it on the shelf and it seems very distant and cold and important, I don't feel like it's something that belongs to me. When I read it, it does. Shannon, I guess I haven't reread my books. I listen to audiobooks actually, one time for each book, and I have enjoyed that. The people who did my audiobooks are a full cast, so it's like a play, almost. Stephanie, that's so cool. Shannon, they say things differently than I would have, but instead of being wigged out by it, I actually like it, because it's as if I'm hearing a new story, and I'm hearing it for the first time. Stephanie, see, I can't ignore my mistakes as much as I hear it on audio. I have tried to listen to my books on audio, and I cannot do it because I hear the awkwardness in the phrase when it's spoken out loud, and I just think, oh gosh, I shouldn't have phrased it that way. And there'll be other things where I hear mistakes a lot louder than when I read it through it. And I can kind of skip over them with my eyes. Shannon, now by the time you finished Twilight, you thought, this is a book. And then you started to revise. Did you revise just like you said, to relive the story, or did you have a purpose? Stephanie, well, while I was writing, I would revise while I was going. I'd start and go back and read what I'd written up to that point before I started. And some days I'd spend the whole day just making changes and adding things to what I'd written. That was one of my favorite parts, reading it. That surprised me, you know? But then it's the book that's perfect for you because you wrote it for yourself and it's everything you want it to be. And when I put the golden spike into it, I looked at it and felt kind of shocked that I had finished it. Then I thought maybe there was a reason I had done this, that I was supposed to go forward with this. Maybe there was some greater purpose, for me to become a reader, that I was supposed to do something with it. Because it was such an odd thing for me to write a book over the summer. It was so odd for me to feel so compelled about it. The one person who knew I was doing was my big sister Emily. But my sister's so, everything's wonderful, everything's perfect, you shouldn't change a single word. She's so supportive. I knew It was not a big risk to let her see it. So it was the combination of thinking I finished it, of thinking I finished this, and Emily saying, well, you have to try and publish it. You have to do it. I don't know how many times we talked, and when she said, Stephanie, have you sent it out? Have you sent anything out yet? So I revised with a purpose, and I revised with a sense of total embarrassment. Oh my gosh, if anyone ever sees this, I'll be humiliated. I can't say that word. I just can't do it. And Emily would call again and again, and I would feel this sense like, maybe I'm supposed to. Then I started doing all the research, like looking for an agent. I didn't know that writers had agents. I thought only athletics and movie stars did that. So that was intimidating and off-putting. I need an agent? This sounds complicated. Then I had to find out how to write literary queries and summing up my story in 10 sentences, which is the most painful thing ever for me. Shannon, horrible. Stephanie, it does not work well. It was also pretty painful having to put out this letter that says, hi, this is who I am, this is what I've written, this is what it's about. I have absolutely no experience or any reason why I think that you should actually pick this up, because who am I? Thank you very much, Stephanie Meyer. That was hard. And now she's a huge author. And sending them out, I don't want to remember that often, because you know how you kind of blank out things that are unpleasant, like childbirth and stuff? It was such a hard thing to do. Back in the neighborhood where I lived at the time, you couldn't put mail in the mailbox. Kids stole it. So you had to drive out and go put it in a real mailbox. To this day, I can't even go by that corner without reliving that nauseating terror that was in my stomach when I mailed those queries out. Oh, Stephanie, wow. Shannon, wow. Stephanie, see, I didn't take creative writing classes like you. I didn't take classes because I knew someone was gonna read what I would have wrote. I didn't worry about the writing part. It was letting someone else read it. My whole life, that was a huge terror of mine, having someone know what goes on in my head. In her head of vampires. Shannon, so how have you? Because obviously millions of people now have read what you wrote. Is it still terrifying to you every time you put a book out? Stephanie, yeah, and with good reason. Because the world has changed. The way books are received is different now. People are very vocal, and I do not have a lot of calluses on my creative soul. Every blow feels like the first one. Oh. I have not learned how to take that lightly or let it roll off of me. I know it's something I need to learn before I go mad, but it's not something I've perfected. And so it's hard. Even when you know it's coming, you don't know where it's coming from, and a lot of people are sucker punches. Oh, that's sad. With every book, I always see a part that I think people are gonna get mad about, or a part that that's gonna get mocked. With Twilight, I thought, oh gosh, people are just gonna rip me apart for this if anybody picks it up, which they're not going to, because if they read the back and say, a book about vampires, come on, that's so overdone. So I knew it was coming. But there was always something I wasn't expecting that people wouldn't like. I mean, with everything you put out there, you just have to know there are gonna be people who really like it. Me. And that's gonna feel really good. But there are gonna be people who really dislike things that are very personal to me, and I'm going to just have to take it. Shannon, but it's so terrifying that I don't know how to have the courage to do it every time. The book of mine that I thought was going to be the simplest, happiest book, just a little fun book that people would enjoy, that was the one that got slammed the hardest. Like you said, it was things I never could have anticipated that people didn't like. As I look back on it, I think I had a chance. I would take those parts out and change them that people hate, the parts that people hated. But I didn't know at the time. So now, as I'm writing another book, I know there are things that people are going to hate. And I don't know what they are. If I only knew what they were, I would be sorely tempted to change them and try to please everyone. I do the very best I can, but you can never anticipate what is that people are going to react to. Stephanie, see, I have a very different reaction to that because I can't change it. It is the way it is. I mean, there are things I can do in editing. I can polish up the writing. I know I can always do better with that. And I know that even in the final form, if I could have had another 3 months to work on it, I would have never stopped polishing because I can make every word more important. but I just can't change what happens because that's the way it was. That's the story. Who the people are dictates and what happens to them. I mean, there are outside forces that can come in, and how the characters respond to them eventually determines where they're going to go, determines where they're going to be. But once you know who they are and there's no chance changing what future it is, it's just, it is what it is. Wow. Powerful. Like, really powerful. That was episode 3 of the Reading the Twilight Saga Illustrated Guide. Remember, you can find magic wherever you look, especially vampire books. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next videos. Bye!